Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we are going to talk about John Wall. Now, they traded for him last December with the intention, obviously, to pair him with James Harden. I believe it was 11 or 14 games in, James Harden's like, yeah, I'm out of here, and they trade him to Brooklyn. So John Wall was left with the rebuilding, restructuring Houston Rockets, and honestly, I think he made the most of it. Him and Christian Wood actually had their own 6-game winning streak before the injury and COVID bug just kind of hit the whole Rockets roster in general. Now, taking a look at the Rockets team last season, they had 30 different players. That's 30. That is not normal one bit. So I think this season is going to be a lot more structured. I think it's going to run a lot smoother, and I think John Wall is really going to be a focal point. So once again, guys, if you enjoy this video, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button. Let's aim for 150 likes on today's video. John Wall turns 31 in September, so he'll be 31 years old. He's got about $92 million left on his contract, and then last season he averaged 20.6 points per game and 7 assists. So he's still got some left in the tank. He's definitely productive. He's still efficient. He still can play defense. Yeah, he doesn't have much of a three-point shot, but he never really has. I think he'll be very beneficial for a number of different reasons next season with the Rockets. Now, before I dive into it, my prediction is I think John Wall comes out next season and has a stellar year. Even if he puts up what he did last year at 20.6 points per game and 7 assists, he still should be able to get some interest from contending teams. Now, the biggest question mark surrounding this upcoming season is John Wall playing in back-to-backs. If John Wall isn't playing in back-to-backs, that's going to be not only not good for the Rockets, but that's not going to be good for his trade value whatsoever. Why would a contending team want to trade for a point guard who is 31 years old, which isn't really an issue, but when you add up all the facts that he is owed $92 million, he's got a player option after this season, and he's resting on back-to-backs, that is definitely not that intriguing for, I would say, most contenders. Now, hopefully he doesn't. I don't know if we have an official word. I don't believe we have an official word. A lot of people are actually just assuming John Wall isn't playing back-to-backs. If you ask me, I think he will be playing back-to-backs. I think he knows what's at stake here. Really, if you really dial into it, he's got a lot on the line here. Yeah, he's going to make $92 million the next 2 seasons, but if you look at it like he could possibly be out of the league in just a couple of seasons if you really think about it. But you have Kevin Porter Jr., you have Jalen Green, and not only do you have those 2 young guards, but you also just have a whole team of inexperienced players. If there's only 3 players and John Wall is one of them over the age of 30, they're going to need some mentorship. They're going to need not only more reps, but having a guy like John Wall specifically, though, for Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr., he's just going to help them in every way, shape, or form. Yeah, maybe he might take up some playing time. I've moved fully to, I think they're going to run with all 3 of them in the starting lineup, and I honestly, at this point, I kind of hope they do. Earlier in the summer, I was thinking, hey, if we draft Jalen Green, why not put him on the bench? I don't want KPJ to regress, but if they put either Christian Wood or Daniel Tice at the 4 or 5, or if it's Jae'Sean Tate and Christian Wood, either way, I think my expectations are in check for this Rockets upcoming season. I don't anticipate much happening. In fact, I think them making the playoffs is a bit of a stretch. I think it's, if I were to guess on them making the play-in game, I'd put it at less than 50%. But it's definitely possible if the right things fall into place. 30 different players last season, COVID, new coach, your franchise player gets traded away. They made the most of it. But still, at the end of the day, 17 wins, that would translate to about 21 wins in an 82-game season. I don't think that the Rockets finish this season above 500 because unless Jalen Green, unless their young rookies pop off, I think that these guys just need a little bit more time. So having a guy like John Wall and giving that veteran mentor leadership is very critical. And like I said, I've really come around to the idea of having all 3 guards in the starting lineup because why not? Why not? I don't want KPJ to regress. I don't want John Wall off the bench, and I don't want Jalen Green off the bench, so why not pair them all together? But once again, 17 and 55 last year, you had a whole bunch of different players. Hopefully the play-in is a little bit more realistic than what I'm thinking right now. It's just the Rockets sample size is so small that it's hard to really get an analysis. There's a lot of young players on this team, guys like KJ Martin Jr., Armani Brooks, Kyrie Thomas, Anthony Lamb. There's a bunch of guys, but more specifically Armani Brooks. I'm hoping he can have as good of an end of the year last year. Same thing with KJ. He was in the G League for a good portion of the season. When he came to the Rockets at first, he wasn't putting up good stat lines. He wasn't playing that much. My concern is that a lot of these young players are going to get inconsistent minutes, and that's going to lead to inconsistent play. But honestly, I have some trust in Stephen Silas. I think he's the man for the job. He's a good guy for this. I think they're going to build a good culture around the locker room. And then you'll have guys like John Wall, Eric Gordon, DJ Augustine, Daniel House. They'll filter these guys out. They'll get rid of them when the time is right, when the value is right. But as of right now, we'll finish on this point of John Wall. This is just something I kind of picked up on watching and live streaming all the games last season, especially at the end during that 20-game losing streak as well. John Wall kind of just took over the fourth quarter. A lot of the fourth quarter revolved around how John Wall was playing, because usually, we had Christian Wood injured the whole season. Not the whole season. Christian Wood only played half the year. Eric Gordon missed the end of the season. There were so many different injuries, different COVID, whatever it was, that it felt like every single game John Wall would come into the fourth quarter and he was the only reason it was either a blowout or the Rockets were winning. He was kind of just controlling the Rockets' fate. He was making sure they weren't going to get completely embarrassed and blown out, and he was also trying his hardest to win every single game. So just that competitive nature, that competitive aspect is another reason why I'm really happy John Wall's here again, because now he finally has some help. He finally has KPJ, he has Jalen Green, Christian Wood, Daniel Tice, Şengün. He's got all these different pieces that are going to help him not have to do every single thing. So we'll have a better record than 17 and 55, and John Wall, while he might get dealt at some point in the season, especially if he is playing good, I'm looking forward to having John Wall on the roster. So that's it for today, guys. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. Peace.